So, hi everyone. I hope you all are feeling great. Um, but here's a quick question. Are you all also feeling a little overwhelmed because you're constantly juggling between your work and your personal life? Well, you're not alone. You'll find a lot of people facing the same issue, just like you. We know that finding a healthy work-life balance can be a real challenge, especially in today's fast-paced world. But fear not, because we are here to help. In this webinar, we are going to share some practical tips and insights that will help you strike a better balance between your work and your personal life. So, whether you're a busy professional, a parent, or just someone who's trying to keep up with all the plates spinning around you, you're in the right place. Let's dive in and explore some ways to make your life more fulfilling and a little tad less stressful. So, just to give a little context, I'll introduce Shravanthi, who is our speaker for the day, and I'll give you a little insights on who she is. So, Shravanthi Venkatesh is a psychotherapist and a drama therapist. She has completed her MSc in clinical psychology from Christ University and her MA in drama therapy from Roehampton University. With more than 8 years of experience in the industry, she has facilitated several workshops with corporates, NGOs such as First American, Dream a Dream, Cry, Perri-ferry, and many more. So let's just start the session, dive into it. And guys, remember, we're here to make a conversation, not a presentation. So whenever you have any questions, you want to say anything, just raise your hands and we'll let you type your queries in the chat box. So over to you, Shravanthi.
Thank you so much, Rishika. Hi, everyone. So I can already see some highs and an active chat section. So I'm just going to encourage everyone to use the chat as well or throughout the session. We'll have time for questions every now and then. But actually, what today is designed to be is more of a reflective session for each of us, right? So I'm going to pop in some reflective questions, and hopefully we're going to have the chat just exploding with, all your responses, because one is we're all learning from each other. And that's exactly why these workshops are really wonderful spaces. And two is we're going to get ideas from each other, and we're going to really learn not only from maybe like a little bit from the PowerPoint, but also mostly about how each of us practice our lives. And we're going to get like a little bit of inspiration from everyone. And we're going to also contribute a little bit of inspiration to someone else. So, you have a really important role today. Right? Okay, super. And can we just, would I be able to share screen with I'm just going to go, yes, I can choose. Got it. Okay, so I have the chat box opened in case anybody has to say something, but I'm going to request the Onsurity team to police that, not police it, but like be my eyes if I need to work with the PPT, right? So is that okay, Rishika?
That's definitely okay. You're all set.
Okay, all right, so before we start, we're going to invite everybody to just, bring yourselves to the space. So we're going to do a small little check-in and a breathing activity, just so that we can get as much as possible in today's time together. So I'm going to request you to sit back, find a comfortable space in your chair, bed, wherever you seem to be now. Request you to sit on your bums, fold your legs, plant them from the ground. And just allow your chair to hold your weight. Allow your back to be spread all legs. Bring your attention to your breath. Just right now. We invite the Onsurity team right here to also participate. So just allow yourselves to bring your attention to your breath. Notice what your breathing is like right now. Try to change it. Try to push it. Just notice what you're holding right now.
Shravanthi, we are losing your voice. So sorry.
Just see what your breathing's like right now.
Yes.
And also begin to see what your body is feeling like right now. Are you holding tension anywhere? Notice if you're holding any tension in your body. Allow yourself to just sink into that tension. Take your attention to your thoughts. Notice if your thoughts are going very fast. Got something on the stove, got some projects and deadlines that you're thinking about. If you've got some family stuff going on for you, just allow that to right now park itself. Allow yourself to say, there is 50 minutes I'm really going to give myself to. If the stove is on, maybe I'll get up and quickly go switch it on. The next 50 minutes, it's just going to be me right here. Still.
So it's going off in the between. Something.
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. It's the fan. The fan's the culprit. Okay. Great. All right. Right. So just coming back to a little bit mindful activity, just going to request you to bring your attention back. And now I want you to notice what you want from today's session. There's a reason you're here. What is your intention from taking away today's session? Notice what is it you want for yourself from today's session. Please, and yeah, you're welcome to put it in the chat. What is your intention? What do you want to take away from today? What do you want to learn? What do you want to recognize? What do you want to acknowledge for yourself? Because we're going to be doing all that stuff in our time. Wonderful. And welcoming you back into our session. So now I want you to just get on your chat section. I want you to put down, what does work-life balance mean to each of you? What is the picture you get when you think about work-life balance? Utilization of current time with current speed. What does work-life balance mean to you, to those settings? Take a moment to, and just put down the words. Maybe you're having different words. Put down all those different words that are coming. I kind of overthink even in a normal situation. Can you suggest to be more calm? Okay, mind. So just for now, we're not going to try and be amazing people. We're just going to be very flawed, very people, right? So that means our lives are not together. We're not learning to make perfect lives. So work-life balance. So which means, do you have a hobby? Do you have friends? Do you have family? Are you in another place? Are you away from your family? Do you have a dog? Do you have children? Do you have a partner? Do you love to travel? So just begin to welcome these ideas for yourself. What is it? What is it you do? You're an employee, of course. But you also have other parts of your life that are very alive. So if you could put down in the chat, what is work-life balance? What does it bring up for you?
I think till we get some answers in the comments, I think for me, work-life balance is mostly about, how I can figure out that little time that I can, basically bifurcate and give it to each member who is important to me, be it my family, be it my pets, or be it just myself. That's also, I think, a very important aspect of work-life balance, spending time with yourself and understanding who you are. So yeah, I think bifurcating the time and spending time with people who are important to you.
Okay, so Rishika solved it for us. Workshop's done.
Hit the nail.
Right, so we're getting some responses. Okay, so we're sitting with some overthinking, anxiety. Some people are sharing these feelings. Gagan has said, how to manage my personal life versus my professional life. Okay. I try to balance my work and life by dividing my time. I try not to work for long hours in the evening. I also take 2 to 3 hours breaks between work. Beautiful. Effective time utilization, no unwanted thoughts, interruptions, okay, without any worries. Right. All right, great. We're getting an idea. There's no me time, just work and household chores. Okay. Thanks for that, Pari. Yeah. You might be voicing that out for many of us. How am I, how am I happy at work? Okay, that's what work-life balance is. Okay, mornings get stressful. Some of us may have particular times of the day that are really stressful, but there are ways. Some people are also talking about coping, how they cope with that. Yeah, of course, all of us are failing, Mayuri. Don't worry about it. Okay, we're failing on a day-to-day basis, but we pick ourselves up. Right. All right, super. So we're getting there. We're getting warmed up, guys. Excellent. All right. So when we look at work-life balance, it's so interesting. Everybody's looking at, my personal life and my professional life, right? So what is the picture we get? We're getting a picture of a balance of, like two scales. Either once the professional life is going up as the heavier one and the personal life is going up. So if you can see, like, somehow we're associating a picture of two sides of our lives, right? There's a sense of, there's a divide, that there's only these two sides of my life. But what if I told you that your work-life balance is 12 areas of your life? It's 12, right? And that is immediately when we begin to expand our thinking of what exactly can work-life balance imply for us, right? Is you've got 12 areas going on. Yeah, Rajesh. Okay, right. Like two halves of oneself. Brilliant. Rajesh was just talking about exactly the kind of picture that we seem to hold about our lives, which may not be accurate, right? And so let's just give ourselves an idea. And right now, I want you to see if you'll have a piece of paper next to you and a pen just to scribble, right? And it's okay if you don't, but if you do, it'll be a more in-depth reflective activity. I want you to look at the 12 areas that are mentioned here, right? And see how you associate. Maybe you don't even have something designated for each of these areas, right? Just to begin to expand your thinking into something that's a little more accurate, defined, because the more defined we are, the more we have the ability to satisfy and expand our lives and live more holistic lives, right? So we've got physical health. So what are we all doing for our physical health? How are we engaging in our physical health, right? Are we going for walks? Do we do some gentle stretches in the morning? Do we dance to our Spotify playlist spontaneously? Right? There's yoga. Yeah, many of us do yoga. How do we engage with our physical life? Right? Do we have space for a physical life? Is there, okay. Well, removing work stress after office time. Okay. We're asking some difficult questions. We're going to get there. Thanks, Akash. So think about, do I have space for a physical life? Next is personal relationships. Okay? And now I want you to do this. I want you to put down your personal relationships. Who actually comes in your personal relationships? Who is present? Who are your friends that you want to spend time with? Who are the family members you need to make time? Do you have children, and do they in fact impact your personal relationships? It's because you're a parent, you're not able to engage, or it's because you're taking care of somebody in the house, and let's also think about these things. We are all part of a bigger context, right? A family context. And maybe we have pets, we have plants. Who is part of the social fabric? Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe we're working in a place that's away from everyone we love or everyone who mattered to us. So I want you to figure out your personal context. What's your personal relationship? And begin to understand just how expansive this area of your life is. So now let's move into career or education. Let's look at, what do you want? Like right now, career-wise, this may be your job, but do you have a career in mind? And they both, or do you have desires to take up courses? Do you do photography courses? Maybe you want to become a diver. Maybe you want to do something else, on the side. What's your education like? What's your career prospect like? Are you building a vocation for yourself? Is this your vocation, or is this a place where you stimulate yourself financially, intellectually, but you have other dreams for yourself? Begin to build that picture. The next area is finances, right? And all of us are at different areas when it comes to finances. Some of us are building from scratch. Some of us may be a little more secure. But finance, we don't get to talk about finance. It's a part of our work-life balance. Right? But finance is a major reason whether we have security, feelings of security. So it's a big area for many of us. So just notice what your thoughts are about your finances. Are you comfortable? Are you comfortable but also panicky? Are you very calm about your finances? That's maybe not a priority of yours. Just begin and notice none of this is good or bad. We're just getting to know ourselves in 12 areas. That's all we're doing. There's no bites. Next, we're going to move into a more spiritual and a more faith kind of space. Are we connected to something? Are we connected to a cause? Okay. So you're at home thinking about that. So how about, I'm going to invite you to do something right now. I'm going to invite you to just try and be in this workshop, right? And I'll tell you why, okay? Because this is a practice. If you're going to be able to be here for this 50 minutes, you're also going to be able to be present in the place where you are, which is maybe at home, right? Maybe work can take a backseat. But let's begin that practice by just going with the flow of the workshop. Okay? And I'm just asking you if you can trust me, right? And if you can trust me for these 15 minutes, right, you're going to gain something from this. I promise. Right? So let's go back to spirituality. What are we connected to? What is the cause we're connected to? Do we have a God? Do we have a belief? Do we have a personal principle? Just think about it. Think about it. What is it for you? And maybe if you don't, that's also perfectly fine. Is that something maybe you want to begin to make space for? So what is spirituality to you? Maybe we have a lot of things and it's not necessarily faith, or maybe we're very devout people to our faith, right? And there's space for everybody. There's space for all kinds of belief systems. So what is it for you? What is this area for you? Maybe we have a very structured spirituality. Or what do we do for our personal growth? Do we engage in workshops? Do we go for pottery classes? Right? Do we go to the gym? And maybe the gym is our space for spirituality because that's where we feel really connected. We're running on our treadmill. Right. So somebody, Debabrata says that to know who I am and what my life purpose is. And maybe that's the question. We're always holding that question that allows us to be curious about ourselves. Right? We're always looking for what is something making meaning, right? That, right? Dance as a form of self-expression and personal growth. Wonderful. Right, yeah, some of us may find meaning in a particular art form, right? Some of us may find meaning in art. Some of us may find meaning in travel, solo travel. Some of us may find meaning in service, maybe in service of others. That's something that allows us to connect to something deeper and larger and somehow a fabric of life that's not entirely visible. It's like inner peace for me. Oh, look at that. It is like a place of time where I can imagine and reflect on myself, reflect on me, get answers to be better. Oh my gosh, look at that. Wow, beautiful. And maybe we find that amidst nature. Maybe we find that on a trek. Maybe we just go to the park next door. Maybe we love it in our garden. Our gardens are places of spirituality. Just notice what we have. What is it that connects us? Then we're moving into recreation, right? What do we do to allow our brains to decompress? You know, like a marshmallow expanding, like a squished marshmallow, and then suddenly, like when you leave it, you just like bloom, right? What do we do for ourselves to do this? Yeah. Think of yourself as that marshmallow, like that somebody's pressing down and trying to compress you in a vacuum sealed packet. And then suddenly you've been put in a bowl and you're allowed to become this big, spongy, spacious, occupying marshmallow, light, fluffy, and sweet, tasty. What are those things that allow you to become this fluffy version? Can we have some hobbies in the chat? What are our hobbies? Right, so Akash is really struggling with work stress. Okay.
I think he's just at the right place there.
Yeah, absolutely. Right place at the right time. Right. Balcony gardening. Okay, so Akash, I'm going to encourage you to do something, all right? I'm going to encourage you to, right now, actually just think about what you actually want. Okay? So if you want a hobby, what's that hobby you want? And maybe put it in the chat. Or if you had a hobby, what is that hobby you had? Put it in the chat. Right? Mayuri says she loves to spend time with herself and just to do whatever she wants to do. Oh, love it. She loves to listen to music and she loves to travel. Prithviraj loves playing cricket and reading books. Yeah. Yeah. What else do we do for our recreation, people? Do we love naps? Anybody, any nap lovers here? Anybody who loves sitting in the sun napping? Akash loves traveling. Brilliant. Reading books, writing my thoughts. Yes, we've got some journaling happening. Anybody like to stare at a wall? That's what I do. I kind of just stare at a wall or I stare at the sky. Anybody do cloud searching? Anyone look at clouds and try to figure out what shapes they have? Anyone go for picnics? Come on, let's have this chat bursting with hobbies and recreation and ways in which we relax. Yeah, Mayuri finds shapes in them. Wonderful. What else? What else do we do in our hobbies? Do we play with our cats and our dogs and our lizards and rabbits? Any of those? How do we like allow our brains? Oh, okay, we have rabbits. Okay. Right. Do we walk? Does anybody try walking barefoot in the grass? Does anybody try to do that? Think about it. Think about what are the tiny, tiny things you do for recreation? Maybe we've got Netflix, yeah. Some of us Netflix because that's like click of a button, we're there. But what do we do to allow our brains to like bounce? Allow our bodies to become like that structureless puddle. What do we do to get that for ourselves? Do we? And the question is, maybe we don't, and maybe we need to start creating that. Okay, Vicky says thinking, ooh, wonderful. Traveling, spending time with yourself, helping, okay, watching movies, great. Good, wonderful. Any artists? Any artists here? Any walkers? Any marathon runners? Anyone who's part of book clubs? And the reason I'm putting this out there is also to name that there are different forms of recreation for us. We may not understand that those are recreational things, but they actually are. Staring at a wall is a recreational activity, right? Switching off, scribbling, doodling. It's not about prettiness and it's not about doing something we're good at. It's just about doing something that's creative, playful, and colorful. And maybe it's just us like vegetating in the sun, or it's sitting in a dark room because, or it's needing quiet time. So we go to a quiet place, right? These are all forms of recreation. Somebody who's a sports person. Wow. Rare. All right. So let's keep this moving. Okay. We're moving into the next section. Is community involvement and social connection. What do we do to be part of a community? Are we part of any groups, any book clubs, yoga groups, meditation groups, laughter groups, friend circles? What all do we have, guys? Put it in the chat. Come on. Let's have this chat bursting with life, right? What do we have for us socially going on? Maybe we have like dinner groups. Maybe we do wine and dine. Maybe we have wine connoisseurs. What do we have? Painting groups. How do we mingle in groups? Maybe it's work groups. Maybe that's where your friend circle is. Put it down. Restricted to ourselves, to forums, to social media groups. Rajesh, I'm just going to ask, why is that? Like, I mean, is it just for you or is it for everyone? And just to think about that, right? And is that what you want? Is that what you want? Or is that something you have to make time for? Right? And the reason I'm putting these questions out there is all of us, we have like we may have a certain thing that we may get trapped in. right? A certain belief system or a certain ideology we get trapped in. And I'm just asking these questions to explore new avenues, right, for ourselves. Right? Do we need to join a cycling group? Maybe you need to join a marathon group because you like, or whatever it is you're invested in or you want to explore. Or maybe you need to reconnect with old friends and have like a Zoom party night, but like, how do we engage socially? Maybe, and it's sometimes very important for us to engage with our bodies. Maybe we need to go to a workshop, a pottery workshop that's close to us, or a dance workshop, or a group that meets in the park, right? Maybe that's something that we want to begin to think about for ourselves. Right? Community involvement is if we're also doing any charity work, or if we're part of a reading group, we read to children. We feed dogs in the community area, right? Some of us find that, or we feed birds, right? How do we engage and see animals and insects are part of a community, right? So if you're engaging with them, that's also part of it, right? You're engaging in a social community. Wonderful. Great, Rajesh. Today's time with a lot of digital communication meeting, person to person, is very important. I absolutely agree. Yes. Right. All right. So we're just going to go into another aspect is our domestic life and our household management. And for many of us, this is something we just can't avoid. And this probably is what like becomes the one that eats up every other aspect of our life is domestic life and household management. How many of us are stuck with chores? Right? Okay. Get time for myself, my family. Yeah. Managing my time, right? So we're going to go a little bit into that. Thanks for bringing that up, Vicky. Right? We're going to go a little bit more into that, the intentionality, which is what I started with, right? What is the intention we're walking into this space with? Right? So great. I'm loving this. I'm loving the organic segues we're already beginning to have. All right. Lovely. But now let's think about our domestic life and our household chores and our household management. Vicky's named something very important for us is time, right? The fact that we are managing parts of our time. Okay. And if we're not able to manage that, then a lot of other relationships, whether it's with ourselves, whether it's our community, whether it's with our families, they suffer. Okay? So let's look at if you had to draw a circle of your domestic life, how big is that circle? Is it a tiny circle? Is it a big circle? Is it a circle with like lots going on? What is this domestic household chore circle like? And if it was next to your work circle, how big are these circles or how small are these circles? Think about that. Think about how much of space these circles occupy. Right? And if you had to make a different circle for each of these 12 different circles, how big or small are these circles on page? Right? Just think about that. Think about how much of space they occupy. And the question is, do we make them smaller? Is that the right size? Is that what you want it to be? And I'm just putting these questions and I'm stirring the pot. Okay, great. Right. Next, we're going into parenting or family. This is something that's going to be really important, guys. We're going more into a family-oriented space. And for a lot of us, these family relationships really begin to struggle with work, right? And with the way things are. So I just want you to think about what your family life is like. Are you a parent? How many parents here? How many parents here? You can put it in the chat, right? Abhishek. Okay.
Are you considering pet parents too? Then yes.
Huh? Yes.
Are you considering pet parents too? Then yes.
Yes. right? Who all was taking on a parenting role? Okay. Parenting role. Okay. How many of us in a parenting, and I'm also going to put it the other way. How many of us are parenting older parents? Right? We don't think about this. How many of us are having aging parents and we're having to play a more significant role in taking care of their health? Maybe we have somebody who's chronically ill, right? Maybe we ourselves are chronically ill, but I just want you to think about this. And who are these relationships? If you had to put down the relationships in your family that take up your time or that you'd like to make time for, who turns up? Great. So I'm just checking, is everybody on board? Is there anything, are we having difficulties with anything? Just a little bit of a check with everybody. Is there any kind of discomfort, any questions we're sitting with, or any thoughts we're sitting with that we want shared or we just want to name? Yeah. Okay, thanks, Vicky. Yeah. That's a lot going on, because fathers at 68, if they're cooperative, are great. If they're going to be resistant to going to the doctor, that's going to be like a whole other ballgame, right? So we may have difficult parents as well. We may have we may have two small kids. We may have another partner who's working, making time for partners. How many of us are able to make date nights happen if we're in partnerships? Are we able to have time for date nights? Anyone? Or play dates with children? And how many of us are able to spend time with our parents? And the thing is, see, this is not to shame anyone. It's really not to, because if we are really already very overwhelmed and we're anxious, because I think a number of people named that here, please understand, I openly want to say we're not shaming anyone. All right? We're just becoming aware. And we're just thinking about intention. Right? After child, very rare. Yeah, date nights. Okay, a few long weekends, wonderful. On weekends, great, lovely, loving it. Okay. And anyone who's able to have family nights, like something to do with the entire family, maybe picnics or movies or board games, anything like that, or just like, I don't know, just sitting and chilling, doing nothing in the hall. Okay, weekends. Got it. Okay, all right. Great, we're getting an awareness of our group. That's wonderful. All right, so we're going to move into the next section is personal development and self-care. What are we doing for this, guys? Come on, what are we doing? What is personal development and self-care? How are we engaging with this? Oh, Vicky, that's wonderful. Dinner in a month. Great. Okay, personal development and self-care. What are we doing for ourselves? We've already got some people who got the ball rolling with journaling and meditating and me time and all of that. But also let's begin to understand what personal development and self-care is. How many of us do our regular checkups? Right? This is also your self-care, right? How many of us also check in with our own health? How many of us once in a while? Shweta's like, no. It's just like a right? I'm loving the honesty. Fabulous. Right? So let's think about personal care, self-care, right? We always think about spas and we always think about meditating as self-care, but let's look at other forms of self-care. Other forms of self-care is asking our partners to take care of the house for once. Sometimes self-care is going to look like I'm going to go to the doctor. I'm going to get myself checked out. I'm going to go for a health checkup. These are also forms of self-care. I'm going to go on a solo trip for the weekend. This is self-care. I'm going to go to the mental health professional just for a check-in session because things have been really overwhelming lately. Self-care. All right. So self-care is not just spas, and it's not just meditating, and it's not just, yes, motorbiking. Fabulous, right? Self-care is hobbies. Self-care is doing difficult things and making difficult decisions for ourselves, right? That's going to take care, that's going to ensure our peace of mind, our health. Self-care is boundaries, all right? And I know that's really hard, but at some point of time, we need to make time for that, right? Otherwise, we're going to fall really ill, and our bodies are going to make sure that we're going to be on self-care. Our bodies are very smart that way. Okay. Next, creativity and self-expression. How are we engaging creatively, right? And it's not about painting and being an artist or anything. It's just anything. How many of us like to cook and try new recipes? How many of us like to, match clothes and, just engage in colors and play games with children, right? Doing interiors and trying new dishes. Wonderful, Shweta, right? How many of us just allow ourselves to think of just random scenarios, right? Like just randomly. Like it's all about just exercising a creative muscle. Rearranging furniture, 3, great. If you're in an apartment, I pity your neighbors. So you're that neighbor, Rishika. You're that neighbor.
Unapologetically.
Right. How many of us, tried writing and try scripting and try going for workshops and, just doing something that we've never done before, right? All of this is forms of creativity. It's forms of challenging ourselves. It's a form of playing. I plan my next trip and start researching about the location. Okay, wonderful. I love cooking. Great. Super. Right. How many of us, yeah. How many of us talk to our plants? How many of us talk to the walls? How many of us suddenly apologize when we kick a chair? See, all of this is beautiful, wonderful little glimpses of creativity in us, right? We paint empty bottles. Brilliant. Lovely, lovely. Okay. And how many of us maybe we want to try stand-up comedy? And even if we're going to be horrible at it, we've tried something. We've tried to be creative, right? It's not about how well you do it. It's about how wonderfully you challenge yourself and allow yourself to do something playfully. Great. And I'm a comedian for my friends. Great. Yep. Yeah, we all need the jester. We all need the clown in the group, right? And finally, our 12th circle, right? Environmental. How are we engaging with the environment? Notice how you're engaging with the environment. Do you engage at all? If that's not present, that's fine. I'm a shy guy and afraid to express myself. Well, Vicky, you probably can express yourself in private, right? And it's about maybe you want to do something with colors, and maybe you want to, it's not always about expressing yourself to someone else unless you want to, but it's about finding a voice for whatever's going on inside. Okay? So it's not performative. What I mentioned was not performative at all. It's just about doing something completely for yourself with zero outcome as the agenda, right? So that's what it is. Great. All right, so let's get a move on. So if you actually see now, right? It's not just a scale with two things. If you're actually saying you're a juggler, everyone here is a juggler, right? And you're juggling about 12 balls or 12, or you're spinning 12 plates, and if you can see, you're at no point of time will you be able to hold everything at once, right? So you're always like, just if you were to act as a juggler right now, and I'm going to invite you to do this, right? Think you have like imaginary sections of your life as like these different colored plastic balls, and just see like what is it like to juggle all of them, right? Just like see what it's like. So what's the visual like for you, right? See, how many hands do you have at the end of the day? You have two hands unless you're really gifted and you've been, you know, you've been gifted with like probably Durga hands, right? But think about it. You can only hold a limited number of roles, right? And each of these things are roles. And you're going to have to choose which roles are going to be in your hands. All right. And at the same time, you're constantly in motion. Right? At no point of time is any one of them actually stopping. So think of yourself as a juggler. Right? If you're a juggler, what are the areas of your life you're juggling? Take a moment to picture that for yourself. Right? What is your life right now? And if you were juggling, what are the different balls you're juggling? And what are the balls you're choosing to hold? So think about that, because you have something called choice. That's something we just forget, right? And once in a while, a reminder is great, right? Next, let's move into quality time. What is quality time for us? What do we mean by quality time, right? How does spending time versus spending quality time? What's so different about these spaces? How do you know that you've spent quality time with someone? Be in the moment. Wonderful. Okay. But like think about it. When you feel so satisfied, right? Um, After spending a day with your family or your friends, what is it that made you think, oh my gosh, like today was a good day? Gosh, got so much out of this, or it was such a good, like I really felt like I got to know this person, or I got to be here. Spending times with loved ones without thinking about work, and only being in the moment, discussing about personal things. Okay. Right. So what is quality time? We spend quality time with someone, we forget our worries and tensions and feel recharged. And you know what? I'm actually going to add to a little bit of what Rajesh said is sometimes quality time is making sure that the people around us know what's going on in our lives, which means know about our worries and tensions. And maybe quality time is being able to share that with somebody and listen to what's going on for them, right? And that's quality time too, right? So let's look at what is quality time, right? So quality time, oops. Oh no, how do I go back? Oh. Yeah. So quality time, if we look at it, it's an informal reference to time spent with close family, partners, or friends. And I want you to think about this as I'm saying it. How are you spending quality time with these people in your life? That is, and pets, right? And pets and plants and yourself, right? Think about the quality of your time. And so if you actually see, it's not about quantity, it's not about how much time you're spending with them. It's about what is the texture and what all is present in that time that you get to spend with them. So if you get to spend 2 hours in a week with your partner, how are you making sure it is a satisfying 2 hours? How are you ensuring it's a 2 hours with depth, with laughter, with tears, with an important discussion, with maybe silence? But how are you ensuring that there is there's quality and depth to that time that you're spending, right? In some way, it's how do you mark that it's important? How do you mark that it's special? Productive, not always, right? If productive is an option, or profitable, right? Again, these are all options. You don't always have to be productive for it to be quality time. To one and everyone involved. Two is, it is creating time, people, right? That means it's not saying, oh, so I have 10 minutes. Do you want to get on a call? Right? That's not your quality time. Is, you know what, babe, I'm going to set aside time from 9 to 10, and we're going to have this discussion. I'm going to make time for us. I'm putting it in the calendar, right? It's making time. It's making time very intentionally. If you're spending time with your kids, right? How are you spending time with your kids? Right? Are you looking at them? Are you playing with them? It's not always about studies. It's not always about getting the homework done, right? But are you laughing with them? Are you hearing the joke that they learned in school? You know, those really lame jokes that, you know, they have those wonderfully lame jokes that only kids can crack, right? How are you letting them know that I'm with you? Right? I'm hearing you, I'm being a part of your life. And I want you to think about this. How do you make sure about that? And are you able to put your phone down? Are you able to stop looking at the laptop? And even for like that half an hour, you're going to be like, yes, I'm all yours. I'm all yours. I'm here. Are you able to do that? Are you able to say, okay, yeah. No, I'm listening. Yeah, what was that? What were you saying? Yeah. Yeah. It looks very nice. What you're wearing is lovely. I'm just getting on a meeting. Yeah, no, it's great, right? That's not your quality time. Your quality time is looking at that person, creating connection, playing a game, maybe sitting in silence, but actually acknowledging that that person is there. And I want you to think about all the times you understood when you had somebody spend quality time with you, right? There was a process to it, right? There was intention, there was ease, right? Just like, oh, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for looking at me. Thank you for, there's so much of gratitude in this space of quality time, right? And it's not always a happy time. Quality time can also be very difficult discussions that we have with our partners. You know, quality time is when we get to tell people our life plans, but you need the quality time in order to make that opportunity for these things to come up, right? It can't just be, what are you doing for your studies, beta? Are you doing well in class? Are you scoring 90%? No, it's not about that. It's really getting to know the person you're with, right? So there's a lot of eye contact in this space, right? You're making sure that you're acknowledging this person. Your body is going to be tuned in. You're going to have a shared activity. Maybe you're playing a game. Maybe you're walking together in the park. You know, there is focus. Are you able to focus on what you're doing without looking at your phone or without being bothered about anything else that's happening? And there's meaningful conversation, not always important conversation, but meaningful conversation. And finally, it is a choice. Quality time is a choice you make. So it's not about, oh, I have time, so I can fit you in. It's, I am going to make time for you because you are important to me. Nanda says, when you spend a whole day with a person and it feels like 10 minutes, absolutely. Yes. And that just shows like you're so engaged, right? You make you make moments, you make good memories, and it gets hitched to your heart. That's such a beautiful way of saying it. Right? And this quality time also makes us feel less alone. We're more connected with our lives because we're connected with something that matters to us or someone that matters to us, right? So there are all-round benefits, okay, to quality time, but it is intentional. It's really choosing to be there, choosing to be present, and telling yourself that I will keep aside everything else. And that's really what makes things quality time, right? So what is the importance of this family time? What is the importance? What is it going to give you, right? Why should you be building quality time in these spaces? It's because one is you're building connection, right? And you're connecting, and we're pack animals, right? Yeah. We're pack animals, right? And so all of us love being a part of a community because that's how we've survived. That's how we survive on a day-to-day basis. So connection is, if we need to feel connected to ourselves, we need to feel connected to a purpose, the place, the things that we're doing, the people that we're with, right? Connection is essential. Then next is it's creating a support system for us. So that means like, imagine when we are ill, is it fun to take care of ourselves? No, we want to be taken care of. We want somebody to pamper us, and we want somebody to hug us and say, oh no, baby, you'll be fine. I'll come and drop you some soup. And, I'll make you something, or come and stay with me. Why? Because, that's what it's all about, being a part of a community. Or when you hear that somebody else is sick, or you hear that somebody's having a really hard time, you're just like, you know what? Let's just go out. Let's take your mind off things. Or when something's happening for you, or you're not able to go to the hospital to check on your parents, you ask that friend you rely on, a relationship you've invested in, saying, hey, can you check on my parents? I'm really worried. I'm not able to get there right now. Can you go there? So it's building a support system for yourself, which is essential, right? Can you check on my dog? Can you pick up my dog? Can you feed my rabbits when I'm out of town? Right? Please, right? So your support system, because once you're part of a community, you're contributing, but you're also gaining from that system. And that's essential for the space. 3, it's personal growth. It's a way in which we are able to be more resilient when things happen to us. We're able to face challenges. We're able to feel like we're part of something bigger. We're able to learn from our community. We're able to contribute to the community. We're able to get through adversity and learn new wonderful things about us and gain new skills, right? So this family time and making time for it has its payoff, right? It's a massive payoff, right? And then finally, feeling like you belong. How many of us have difficulty with this? Sometimes, how many of us are sitting feeling really lonely at times? And suddenly in the middle of the night, we feel like we're the only person in the world. Nobody can hear us. We feel like we want to isolate. We feel really anxious, right? Yeah. Like, I just want you to think about this. And that's a time when we need connection more than ever. And we need to water those relationships so that in those times, we have somebody to call up and say, hey, like, you know what, I'm feeling really shitty right now. And I don't know why I'm feeling this way, or this is really tanking. Or why only like the sad stuff, happy stuff? Like, I got the promotion. Oh my God, I got accepted into this. I got this license. I've been working on this for so long, and I just wanted to share it with you. Or just like those random bouts of love that you feel for somebody, and you say, like, I just wanted to text you and say, oh, you're so important to me. all of the space back for us. Right? It has so much of implications for our life, right? For our health. We have lesser heart problems. We have lesser problems with anxiety, mental health, right? See, these are the payoffs of belonging and contributing and receiving, right? These are the payoffs. And so building this network for ourselves, building these parts of our lives, and being a good juggler, being an essential juggler is super, super important. So let's look at what are the barriers. We're coming to the end of things. Okay, the barriers is, well, technology. One is the fact technology can be a boon, but it can also be a bane, right? Now we are always connected. We are always turned on. We are always expected to turn up, right? And so this is where your personal boundaries come into play, right? It is saying, okay, I'm not going to reply to this right now, or I'm going to make time for this and I'm not going to attend to this right now, but I will eventually do it, right? So your technology is a hindrance right now. We're more connected, we're more on call. Two is actually like the digital stimulation that we receive actually contributes to our sense of anxiety. And also a lot of our social media, it works on the basis of addiction. And that is something I think we all need to be very aware of, that these are targeted to fuel addiction. So if we need to be really conscious of how we are engaging with technology. Second, our work demands. Maybe, we're in a high demand job, but it's also about tuning into that juggler, right? And if you're holding one ball for too long, all the other balls are going to fall, right? So it's about how do I make sure that the balls are juggling? How do I make sure that, okay, this part of my life, I don't have time for, but I can make time for this, right? It's about choosing, right? Traveling on work, these are barriers. That's the nature of our work, maybe. So it's about maybe when I come back, this is how I'm going to make intentional time. Working with different time zones. That's also, again, nature of our work. When we're in corporate spaces, we're working with other countries, we're working on different timelines. But these are the barriers. But again, it's to be conscious of it so that we understand what is the time that we do have, right? If we're going to how do we adjust our life around this? And that becomes essential. So your consciousness about the barriers, the more you're tuned into your life, the more you'll be able to figure out, okay, this is what I can do, this is what I can't do. So this is how I'm going to allocate my time meaningfully, right? Right. And activities to improve your quality time. I'm just going to go through this really fast because I think we're at time, right? Or we cross time. Is creating family rituals, right? So we may not always be able to be present for our families and friends, but creating a tradition, a ritual. Guys, we meet up on the 5th of May, Cinco de Mayo. So we're going to meet up and I'm going to keep my calendars free. Or if it's, festivals, and festivals are really important for you, you're going to have to make time for it, right? So creating family rituals, creating social rituals, make it like at least give you a reason why you have to create time. Then celebrating events and achievements. So the smallest celebration can be shared and celebrated. The biggest celebration can be shared and celebrated. Even if you're going to get on the phone call and say, oh my God, I got through the interview. I got through this. I got the job. I got the promotion. Or I met the deadline. Right? These are things that you can share and connect with people, right? And that also allows for you to share joy with somebody and you make sure you're not alone. On the other hand, it's also sharing your grievances. It's saying, I had a really bad day today. Can we just talk? It works two ways. Family game and movie nights, right? Again, traditions, like a shared activity, shared context. This is going to give you more abilities to be present and to have shared context. to create connection, to get to know different parts of people that, that's okay, this person's really competitive. I'm a very peaceful person. Oh, this person likes to cheat. So shady, right? But like at the same time, we're getting to know these people. We're getting to know the people in our lives. Free play with children. So please know that if you're parents, it's not always about how your children are performing. It's also about, can I play with them? Because children tell you the most intimate part of their lives through play, right? And if you need to like become trustworthy, you need to play with them. And I can tell you this, they can fail as much as they want, but if you want to be a great parent, play. Where go to the tea party, play, like be the baby in the play, right? Whatever it is, play with them. Okay. Date nights with your partner. You can see some of us already do that, but keep date nights. Maybe you want to do solo traveling. Maybe you want to do overnight trips. Maybe you want to have like some way of spending time with your partner away from children, because that is a completely different relationship. It's not always about family vacations. Partner. And it's super essential that you work on that relationship, because that relationship came first before the kids, right? So if you have kids, make sure that you are consciously making time for your partner, and solo time with your partner, so that you're getting to know how y'all are changing as adults, where y'all are in life, and what y'all need to do, all of these things. Picnics, family vacations, maybe a compulsory family meal, whenever you can afford it. And sharing hobbies. Maybe somebody loves football, you hate football, you go to the football game just to support them. Somebody likes cricket, you don't care about cricket, but you're still going to go to cricket. Somebody likes to dance the tango, you have two left feet, but you're going there because you are showing up. You are showing up and you're saying, I care about your interest. So we will do the shared activity together. Right? Right. So that brings us to the end of our time together. Right. And so we have gone a little bit over time, but I hope that this has been a beneficial hour for you. And let's just do a little bit of a breathing activity to close together. And I will hand it over to Rishika after that to end the session. Okay. So I know there was a lot of information. We've had to rethink a lot of things about our lives, or maybe we realized that we're doing some good things in our lives. So let's bring our attention to our bodies. Bring your awareness to your breath. Close your eyes. Maybe place your hand on your chest. And just breathe. Let's all just breathe together. We're going to take 3 deep breaths together. And inhale. And exhale. Second one. Inhale. And exhale. The last one. Inhale. And exhale. And just what your body feels like right now. Just the things that have come to your realization. What you can do, what you can't do, what you want to do. Maybe you learned something from somebody else. Somebody else learned something from you. Yeah. Right. So thank you, everybody, for your sharing and for being engaged, for making me feel less lonely. Thank you, Rishika. Your facial expressions were really comforting. I loved it. And thank you to everyone who engaged in the chat and who just present. Okay. Yeah. And that brings me to the end of my session, handing it over back to Rishika.
Okay. Wow. Wow, that was very insightful, very great. Thank you so much, Shravanthi. It was very, very informative, yet very, I would like to say, creating a lot of awareness. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people came in with a lot of doubts, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things that they can take away from the session. And yeah, I really hope that, now people have more clarity on a lot of things, and they're just more aware about different parts of their life, like we were saying, how to juggle it around, and, also to look into the choice part. That is also very important. So yeah, on the way, it was really great. I'm seeing the chats, I'm seeing people thanking you, people saying that it was a beautiful session. I'm really happy that everyone could take away a lot of things. So with that being said, we close the session for the day. But guys, you can always reach out to Onsurity if you want to connect with Shravanthi further. And we hope to host another session with you soon.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Definitely. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day ahead and a great week ahead.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah. Bye, Rishika. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Pranav, and thanks, Tamana.